Good morning, everyone. I'm Neil McCartney. I'm the chairman of the Independent Film Trust, but as you probably see from the programme, I wear a number of other hats as well, which often leads to a lot of confusion, not only to other people, but also to myself. The Independent Trust is a UK registered charity which exists to advance the cause of independent filmmaking, which we do by various ways. That is based in Cambridge, largely because that's where I live. We do work primarily in London and in Cambridge, but also in other parts of the country as well. I have some other Cambridge-based activities. As mentioned, I'm the chairman of the Cambridge University Alumnus Group for Film and Media. I work with the Raindance Film Festival and the British Independent Film Awards, which I helped to set up in 1998. And I'm involved in two commercial companies, my own company, McCartney Media, and the production company Tribute Inspirations Limited. McCartney Media is primarily a consultancy company, but has been active in film production as well. And I can say a bit more about those various things. But I wanted first to talk about the Independent Film Trust. As I said, it's a charity which exists to advance the cause of independent filmmaking. We do various things. One of the things, the section of our work that I'm most proud of at the moment, is that we run basic filmmaking courses for disadvantaged people. And by that I mean anyone who really wouldn't get the chance to get their hands on a film camera in the first place. So we've done courses with adults recovering from mental health problems, inner city school kids, young people who've been excluded from the education system because they've committed crimes or are thought to be at risk of doing so, primary school children with learning difficulties. Almost anyone can do one of these courses, and even if they've never picked up a camera before, they can learn something from it. And I wanted to show you a little clip that sort of says a bit about that part of our work, which is the first clip.
Film School in a Box was designed to be a lightweight box, and the box would open up and would be everything you would need to make, edit, and show a film.
We have storyboards and materials for planning, research, writing. We've got small, easy-to-use cameras which we use for filming. We've got a number of lightweight computers which we use for editing, sound design, music composition. And then we've got our projector, which we screen the films on. And we take this all over the country, showing people from all walks of life how to tell a story using film.
Okay, get ready. Director, tell me to action.
There are plenty of courses and schools around that are there to make filmmakers. Our main aim is about building confidence and self-esteem and giving people a basic grounding in digital media skills, because that's increasingly important in today's world. And also learning something about how to work in a team.
Should we do the thing where it kind of zooms in and out? Should we?
The wonderful thing about film, as any filmmaker will tell you, is that it's a very collaborative art form. You have to come up with the ideas, and depending on your skills, maybe you write them down. And if you don't have the writing skills, then you can make storyboards. And if you don't have those skills, you can just pick up a camera and shoot something and learn how to put the visual images together. And when you're successful, you take people to a world that either they didn't know and show them something new, or you take them to a world that they already know, and through the insight of the filmmaker, you will see something that they didn't see before. And that's what is so powerful about cinema.
He's like this, and then sees Kieran, and then he just kind of looks like that. And then there's the yeah, and then we cut to another shot, and I'll explain that. Okay, we've done this.
Great communication, teamwork, they're working under deadlines, they're working under pressure. All of those skills can be transferred to any industry, really.
Give you a sense of achievement that you've done something. It was just a very short and very simple film, but you've basically done that, you've gone out, and with help you filmed a short story.
It gives them a voice, but suddenly they're very confident about talking about themselves and about education and about their sort of relationship with the wider world. So I remember one student saying, it's not that we didn't fit into the school system, but it's that we were misunderstood. So be able to reflect on their own experience in the educational setting and what this process has done for them is huge.
Everybody has a story to tell. All these ideas they convey shows us the way they see life and the way they see society and the way they feel they've been treated and the way they would like to be treated. There is quality out there and there is talent and it just needs to be found.
To work alongside somebody who, with that professional expertise, the whole of Portugal Prints was sort of raised a level by that. And we learned, everybody on the project, staff and service users, learned a tremendous amount.
It's a way of expressing yourself, and you might be able to express an idea or an opinion or a belief in 5 or 10 minutes, whereas you might not be able to do that in another way.
I think also that sort of belief in yourself, again, that just because we're a mental health project doesn't mean that we can't work to a very professional standard.
No, it was really fun. I think whoever's watched this video, if you've not done it yet, you should definitely do it.
Okay, and I'm just going to show you one short example of a film that was made through one of the courses. It was made by the group of primary school children with learning difficulties that I mentioned, who are at a school called The Link Primary School in Croydon. And this was from a course we did with them 2 years ago, partly with funding from ourselves and partly with funding from the National Lottery. And we've just managed to start a second course with this school, which is running at the moment. Again, we're supposed to be getting some lottery funding, but there's been some kind of mix-up and the money hasn't arrived yet. Anyway, I just want to show this second clip, and then there's an interesting point about it in just drifting us. Now, so that was made by a group of 9 and 10-year-old kids with learning difficulties. And before we started the course, they would all have said, we can't make a film, and so would their teachers. But they're quite capable of everyone has an idea, everyone has something they want to say. And the purpose of our course is largely to try and get the idea from the mind and onto the screen. The problem we had with this particular film is that we put together a television programme for the Community Channel, which is run by the Media Trust. And it took 18 months of negotiation. At the last minute, they were just about to show it, somebody suddenly said, wait a minute, isn't there a possibility of copyright infringement here? I said, well, why? Because of the masks they're wearing. So, well, I think the threat of legal action by Justin Bieber or Lady Gaga is extremely slim. But anyway, in the end, they cut it out, and we had to find something else to put in instead, which was a bit frustrating. We are in the middle of setting up some filmmaking courses in Cambridge right now. I'm doing one with the Fitzwilliam Museum, which is for unaccompanied asylum-seeking minors. You know, young people aged 16 to 18 who've come to the UK from places like Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, entirely on their own without their parents. And you can imagine what kind of traumas they've been through. That's one area of what the IFT does. Another area is that we arrange distribution through screening or release on DVD of films which we think are of high quality, but which have for one reason or another not reached the audience they deserved. In the past couple of years, we've screened the Iraqi film Leaving Baghdad, the South African short film Totsi, which won the Best Foreign Language Film Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film in 2006, and a new film, as yet unreleased, called Secret Sharer, for which we did a test screening. And we used venues at Magdalen College, Queen's College, Emmanuel College, and Anglia Ruskin University. There are lots of venues that are available in Cambridge if you know how to go about getting them, which usually means finding a friendly fellow, but you need to know what the rules are. The other main aspect of our activity is that we try to provide assistance in career development to people who've already got a foot on the ladder in the film industry. And one of the things we do here, for example, is we sponsor an award at the Raindance Film Festival, which goes to the short film that best encapsulates the spirit of independent filmmaking. And the way that sponsorship works is we sponsor the award, we provide a bit of money, and the person who wins that particular award gets the right to make the trailer for the following year's Raindance Film Festival. So what that means is that this film gets shown ahead of everything that's screened at Raindance. Raindance, as a lot of you all know, is the largest festival of independent filmmaking in Europe. This year we showed about 100 feature films and 150 short films from about 50 different countries. That's whittled down from 4,000 submissions. So the trailer is shown ahead of every film at the Raindance Festival itself and at commercial screenings arranged with people like Cineworld and View in South East England. So it's a great calling card for the director who gets to make it. From our point of view, it's a very nice thing to do, very nice thing to be associated with. For Raindance, they get a high-quality trailer for nothing, because, of course, although it only lasts a minute, people put an awful lot of effort into it because they know how many people are going to see it. So I just wanted to show you the one that was made for this year's Raindance Film Festival, which is, we can see now. That was shot in Sicily, if anyone recognised it. The other areas of work that I do, I mentioned the commercial work. I've co-produced 2 feature films with Russian partners. I'm just working on a third one now about the life of the ballet dancer Rudolf Nureyev. That's through my company McCartney Media. With Tribute Inspirations Limited, we just started shooting a documentary feature, partly here and partly in South Africa, that's going to come out time to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the first democratic elections in those countries. A lot of the things I've mentioned here have come about because of who knows who and who has an idea and put a lot of work in to make sure that an idea came about, often without a lot of money. Which leads me into why we're here, which is there's a lot of creative activity going on in East Anglia, and yet there seems to be very little connection between it. Even in Cambridge itself, even within the town of Cambridge, there's lots of people doing things that nobody else knows about. There are, I mentioned the screenings that we've done at various places in Cambridge University. There are student groups there, like CineCam and CUTV. Anglia Ruskin, the other university, also has a film and arts group, but they don't seem to have any connection with each other. There are several residence filmmaking organisations. There's a group called Cambridge Filmmakers, which used to be called the Cambridge Independent Filmmakers Association. There's the Cambridge Super 8 group. There's Shooting People. There's ourselves. There are lots and lots of groups, but they never seem to meet. And it's a problem in Cambridge anyway, not only in film, but in arts as a whole. Only last week, I was at a conference at the Guildhall, which was about the lack of hubs for various different of artistic endeavour in Cambridge. That there is no place for people to gather, no place for people to exchange ideas, no place for people to talk to each other. There only one place where people from the film business tend to congregate is the Arts Picture House, which some of you will know. So I always make a point of having a meeting with somebody. I'll always do it in the bar or the restaurant of the Arts Picture House. And then almost always I bump into someone because I make a point of going there. But even that venue is under threat, as you know, because of the Competition Commission ruling that perhaps Cineworld will have to sell that cinema. If there weren't for that, there wouldn't be anything. So this is why I think this conference is a great idea, that if we can establish networks between various different creative activities that are going on in this part of the world, there are things that can be done. And it requires, I think, not necessarily a lot of money. Like that's the project with the Raindance Film Festival to do the trailer. We only provide the person who makes the trailer with £1,000 in cash. They've got to do the rest of it themselves. And of course they do, because they know that a lot of people are going to see it, and they pull in favours, and they twist arms, and they do things for nothing. But we know also that you need a certain amount of cash for things like paying for parking tickets and so on. But a lot of creative effort went into setting up that award and that programme, which has now been running for 6 years, but not a lot of cash. And I suppose that's what I'd like to say, that you don't need a huge amount of money, so long as it's used with imagination, and it's spent by the right people. So I hope that we'll hear that these things come out of the conference today. That's why we're all here. I'm going to be around for the rest of the day. If people want to talk to me about any of the things I've mentioned, lots of things I haven't had time to say at all. For example, the first film that I co-produced in the UK was shot in Leicestershire. We did approach the local regional film agency, but couldn't get any support out of them. We did invite them to the premiere. When the film was finally made, I organised a premiere at the Odeon in Covent Garden. Interestingly, the film had been shot on 35mm, partly because my Russian partners really wanted it to be on 35mm because they're very festival driven and they wanted to get lots of festivals, which it did. But obviously it was expensive making it on 35. When we came to show it, and I spoke to the Odeon, they had 4 screens there. This was a couple of years ago, but only one of them had a 35mm projector. And when we showed the film in April of that year, they said it's the first time it's been used this year. Anyway, we invited people from East Midlands Agency to come along, and they really, well, perhaps first I should say, we'd had a little introductory session beforehand, and the director of the film, Russian lady, chose to criticise the regional agency for not having supported us. I thought, why do it now? We've made the film now. Why do it now? Anyway, they saw the film. They said, "Oh, you've made Leicestershire look wonderful." So, well, maybe next time we come to you, maybe you'll give us some support.